HR is fundamental to a sales leader and his or her team achieving their objective. HR is already indirectly given targets.
The silent heroes, HR and sales alignment, it's always broken.
I think it's absolutely incorrect. If you are a sales leader, I would be very close to the HR leader to help them to understand this is what we have to deliver. In order to deliver this, these are the types of individuals I need.
Salespeople would get drawn to culture more than incentives. Would that be a right statement?
You can train me on how to sell, but you can't force me to get out of bed. Force me to go and visit that client, to pick up that 10th phone call. All the functional training in the world won't make me do those things. Or make me do those things is, am I driven? Am I motivated? Am I supported? Those things are going to make me make the 10th and the 11th and the 100th call.
This is a statement I hear from a lot of my clients. We don't have good talent in sales.
I would say that there is plenty of talent in the market. The key thing is, do you know how to identify it? Do you know how to assess it? And do you know how to retain it? Just that most organizations fail in one or multiple of the things I just said.
So how do they actually fix this problem?
They just call me.
I love that. So before we move into introducing our amazing guest today, I'd like to make a small request to all our viewers. Many of you watch us regularly but aren't actually subscribing to the channel. If you really found our conversations valuable to your sales world, please hit that subscribe button and share those topics you'd like us to explore. It really encourages us to bring in the content, work towards it, bring those guests that matter most to you. So welcome to Sales Igniter. I'm Leenna Jayachaandran. I'm the founder and CEO of Transdefy, and we are a sales performance improvement organization. I'm deeply passionate about sales, and I believe sales is not just about hitting targets. It's about people, culture, and the way every function inside an organization fuels that growth. And I'm sure the audience could resonate that with me. That's why I'm particularly excited about today's conversation, because it brings two worlds together, which is HR and sales. So let's see how this, conversation really transpires to be. So joining me is Taz Rajabali, a global people and a cultural leader with years of experience shaping how organizations think about talent, leadership, and performance. Taz is known for challenging conventional thinking in HR and bringing those bold perspectives on how HR can go far beyond being just a support function and to becoming a true enabler of business. I strongly believe that HR can do amazing work in bringing the business growth. So today we'll explore an idea that's both fresh and very thought-provoking, how HR can actually be an extension of the sales team and a real driver of sales performance. So welcome, Taz, and thank you so much for coming on our show. And I'm truly excited about today's conversation because not many people think about HR and sales as a combination. And I've had great experiences of how HR has transformed businesses and the growth they've bought in. But before we start off with a very serious conversation, or rather I would say not serious but fun conversation, I would love to ask you one question.
Sure.
If suddenly you were being given a sales target to achieve, right? And HR is given sales target to achieve.
Yeah.
Would you go smashing it or would you just run up the hills?
First of all, thanks for having me, Leenna. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
It's super
pleasure.
cool to be here.
Thank you.
And I love this topic because it's such a unique way of looking at the collaboration between sales and HR.
Yeah.
And it's a relationship which are natural bed partners, we could say. Most people wouldn't put these two parts of an organization together.
Sure.
But maybe after listening to us today, they might think, there's a little bit of overlap. If you gave me a sales target, would I run for the hills or would I smash it? Personally, of course, I would smash it.
Okay.
But let's talk about HR in general.
Yes.
I think HR is already an extension of your sales organization. We just don't frame it like that in our minds. So targets, HR is already contributing to your sales targets.
Right.
Again, we may not frame it that way,
Yeah.
but HR is fundamental to a sales leader and his or her team achieving their objectives, an organization achieving their sales targets, an individual salesperson achieving their objectives and targets. So HR is already indirectly given targets. We just don't frame it like that.
Oh, I like that. Indirectly, they're given target. They are the silent heroes, as you call it. Because do you think of that because HR is more to do with people first, and looking after their people and making sure that they are being motivated. So, is that why HR is a natural extension of sales? And have you had some experiences on that?
Well, let's look at it like this: salespeople are people.
Yeah.
Right? And on the one side, you can give them the functional skills that they require to be able to go and sell.
Yeah.
But on the other side, they are still people. And outside of the functional capabilities of selling, there are the non-functional capabilities of selling, like resilience, like your energy, like whether you're supported, like whether you work in a trusting environment, whether your manager is a great manager. Right?
That's critical.
All of these things will affect your sales performance.
Yeah.
So the functional capabilities, yes, sure. But there are also the people capabilities, which are fundamental to sales success.
Right.
To any human endeavor,
Yeah.
those capabilities are fundamental to success.
Yeah.
If we ignore those, we're only tackling half the challenge.
It's true.
If we combine them, you have a multiplier. So I look at HR as a sales multiplier in an organization.
Wow, I love that. Okay. They're
Just
indirect.
don't quote me.
No, so you're indirect heroes and sales multipliers, because at the end of the day, people are doing the job, and salespeople are under so much of pressure of really performing, because they naturally come out in the light when things are not happening.
Yeah.
And the functional support team are not actually questioned in the first. It's always the salespeople. So
Let me put it to you like this, Leenna,
Yeah.
right? You can train me on how to sell, but you can't force me to get out of bed. You can't force me to go and visit that client to pick up that 10th phone call or make that 10th phone call after my 9 rejections. All the
Right.
functional training in the world won't make me do those things.
Right.
What will make me do those things is, am I driven? Am I motivated? Am I supported? Have I learned how to deal with failure? Am I in a great environment? Is the culture great where I'm working?
Yeah.
Those things are going to make me make the 10th and the 11th and the 100th call.
well,
But
yeah.
knowing how to make the call, no, that's not gonna be the driver.
So I like that you're saying that you can teach someone how to engage with your customer, but you can't force someone to get out of bed and
do it with passion.
Yeah,
and
that
to do it
passion,
with-
the
yeah,
desire.
absolutely.
Yeah, the will to sell, as we say, right? The deep innate need for it. And so you touched upon a point on culture, right? And I love that topic. And I personally believe it's such an integrate part of any organization's success or failure. Truly, there's no gray area
100%
there,
agree.
right?
100%
So
agree.
do you see, so for example, for salespeople, I come from sales, right? So my brain is always working from a sales thought process. So do you see that sales is so much under pressure for, driving the numbers, driving the quota, but HR is so much driven towards culture, people first, transformation of, of creating that empathy and cohesiveness. Do you see that culture is one of the most important factors for organizations to achieve their sales quota, very specifically?
I think culture is one of the most important things for organizations to achieve anything. And my opinion on culture might be a little bit different to most people's. I don't think organizations have one culture.
Right.
I think organizations are made up of many micro-cultures.
Okay.
Right? Your sales team culture may be completely different to the culture within the finance team. Or within the marketing team.
Right.
In fact, it's most likely to be.
Yeah.
Now, organizations would like to have a broad sort of, this is what we stand for, this is our culture, yes. But the reality is, and the experience that's felt by each employee, is the culture of their closest environment, their nearest environment, right? Culture plus sales capability is going to be accelerated performance.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
If you have let's look at it from a very negative point of view. If you have a manager who's a bully, right, and who only knows how to manage or lead through fear, this is not going to drive sales performance. In fact, people may be able to do that for a short period of time. They may operate out of fear for a short period of time. But let me ask you, the competitor comes along and says, hey, come and join us and we're going to give you a great environment in which to flourish.
Yeah.
How long are you going to retain your salespeople?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, this is where HR comes in. HR can ensure that the environment in which your sales folk are operating is one that's healthy, that's encouraging, that puts an arm around their shoulder when they are faced with 90% rejection, which is what sales is.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is not easy to deal with.
True.
And it's not easy to deal with at a human level.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
So this is where HR can really play a role. So a very, very long-winded answer to your question.
No, it's very interesting. And there's so many things which is coming in
So
my
many
mind about
things.
this. Yeah.
Culture is paramount.
Paramount.
Absolutely
Yeah.
paramount. Yeah.
And I picked a particular statement you mentioned that when competitor comes to this individual who's probably a great performer, you will lose good people if your culture doesn't allow
You will lose good
to,
people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So people get drawn to culture, or I would rather say salespeople would get drawn to culture more than incentives. Would that be a right statement?
Right or
Yes
wrong,
or wrong.
Leenna, it's an opinion. My opinion personally is, I think that there are multiple factors for why people join organizations.
Yeah.
And each individual ranks those factors differently.
Yeah.
And they also change throughout one's career.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Salespeople, typically we find, and it's a trait which you probably want, are very driven by commercial growth.
Yeah.
By making money,
True,
right?
true.
It's probably a trait you want in your salespeople,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, of course. That's a fundamental.
But that doesn't mean that they aren't interested in culture. Let's take two organizations that are paying plus or minus 10% of each other. What then becomes the deciding factor?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it's two competitors where the product may be similar,
Yeah, the market is
client
the
base may be
same.
similar, the market's the same, the salary
True.
is ballpark plus or minus, right?
Yeah.
What then becomes the deciding factor? Not just to join, but whether I stay or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's my team, it's the people I work with, it's my manager, it's the leaders I work under,
Got
it's
it.
the support I'm given, it's the culture that I'm working in.
True.
Right?
And that's why you see a lot of organizations where there are people who are sticking on for 10 years, 15 years, and I'm like, that clearly resonates the culture of the organization as
Absolutely.
to. But there are also people who stay there for so many years because the culture of the organization is to. They do not have the heart to tell them to go, and that's also not very good. Actually, if you look at it,
Absolutely not.
One of my clients whom I'm working with, they've been having salespeople for the last 15 years there. They've been and consistently not performing. And I asked, why would you not have that conversation? So the statement which came out was, our culture is we don't let people go, but that's also not good, right? The culture should have the courage. Culture is also about having the courage to have that conversation with the people, because at the end of the day, you got to protect your organization as well. Is that the way? Is that a
That's absolutely
good way
fair,
to look
Leenna.
at it? Yeah.
Culture can often be a scapegoat for many, many things.
You're right.
I've heard it being used many, many times without really a lot of clarity around what do you mean. People will say, oh, that person we're not going to hire because they're not a cultural fit.
It's like strategy being used loosely.
Yeah, it's quite an easy escape route,
Yeah.
The culture of not letting people go is an interesting one, because I agree that you've got to give people the opportunity, and you've got to create an environment where people can flourish. Right? But sometimes we have to also recognize that that individual may just be in the wrong environment.
You're right.
And actually, by letting them go, you may be allowing them to go and find somewhere where they will flourish.
You're right.
Right? That's the one side of it.
Totally
The
agree.
other side is when you are, the example you used is, you may have an individual with underperformance. If you allow that person to stay, that becomes your culture.
Yeah.
underperformance becomes your culture.
True.
So the organization needs to decide, is that the outcome we want? Or is it better to let the individual go and build a culture of high performance, for example?
Yeah.
Right? True. So, it's...
and I think it also attracts people when you talked about environment. It also, when you're hiring people as well, you hire people which fits into that culture of comfort. And so it's like a dominoes effect.
I can't tell you enough, in a market like here, in Dubai, within industries, everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
We are a relatively small market.
Absolutely.
We have an executive search business, and oftentimes the individuals that my team are looking to hire for the clients, they will already know a lot about the client.
Right.
And it's oftentimes, I know the leadership, I know the culture.
Yes.
I know people who work there, they tell me it's like this, like this, like this. Very rarely is it, I'm going to go there because they're going to give me X thousand more.
Yeah.
So oftentimes my team will come to me and say, we're finding it very, very easy to put people into that organization because their reputation in the market is very strong. If you have an organization where the sales team has a known reputation for high performance and a great culture, it's going to attract salespeople to go and work there.
Yeah, true.
Right?
And again...
And conversely, the same as well, by the way.
You're right.
Yeah.
And good people will always go looking for good places.
Of course.
And then that's always a talent. That is why people say, I'm not having the right talent. It's because you're not retaining them.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons why organizations struggle to find talent.
Yeah.
Very rarely is it because there isn't any talent. In fact, I don't think it's ever that there isn't any talent.
That's a good point. Why do you say that? Is it because skills, they're not developing themselves as much, or you are in an executive search business. We're going to tangent,
but I'm warning you. You brought me here, okay? So,
this is interesting because, and I think specifically from a sales function perspective, this is a statement I hear from a lot of my clients saying that we don't have good talent in sales. So, what's your take on that?
I would say that there is plenty of talent in the marketplace.
Yes.
Right? The key thing, for want of a better word, the key thing is, do you know how to identify it?
Yeah.
Do you know how to assess it?
Yeah.
Do you know how to bring it into your organization? And do you know how to retain it? And do you know how to make it flourish?
Right.
It's not that there isn't talent out there. There is plenty of talent out there. It's just that most organizations fail in one or multiple of the 5 things I just said.
So how do they actually fix this problem? Because
they just call me.
I love that.
Did we line that up? We should have lined that up. We didn't, for your viewers. We didn't line that up, but anyway.
That's brilliant.
Look, I think I've been in the world of HR and talent for 30-something years.
Yeah.
I've never, in all of that time, all around the world, encountered any talent challenge which can't be resolved.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Can't be resolved.
Yeah.
But resolving something, first of all, involves recognizing it and accepting it for what it is. Not creating stories or just ignoring it or making up some false reasons. It's our culture.
Right.
But actually recognizing the challenge, accepting the challenge for what it is, investigating then why that challenge exists, and then resolving it at its root cause.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, many people, many organizations struggle to go through that process. It's easier to say there's no talent out there. But that's just factually incorrect.
Yeah. Do they really know what kind of talent they want? That's also a question.
It's an important question.
Yeah.
It's an important question.
And also the fact, because they're also confused about the culture they have created in the organization and not looking at those aspects which is indirectly, kind of affecting the sales organization. Yeah. And the only thing they could do is to let them go.
How many sales leaders talk about resilience?
Yeah, it's just a word.
How many? Yeah.
You have to be resilient, but how?
Versus targets or quotas.
Yeah.
How many sales leaders would put a hand around a salesperson and say, how are you bouncing back through your rejection at the moment?
Yeah.
Or what are your energy levels like? Or are you taking enough breaks to ensure that you're operating at peak performance?
Yeah.
Those are not normal conversations.
No.
It's much easier to say, hey, why did you miss your target?
You're
or
right.
where are you on your journey towards your target?
True.
I think we've got to understand that in order to deliver peak performance, whichever function you're in, but for the purpose of this, let's say the sales function, you've got to take care not only of the functional skills, but you've got to recognize that these are people.
Yeah.
And if you want the best from people, you've got to create the environment for them to perform.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I do a lot of work around peak performance. The one thing that surprises everybody is that in order to deliver peak performance, one of the most important things is to take regular breaks.
Yeah.
Right? To recharge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Like your battery charge of the phone or your laptop.
The phone will run out
Yeah, exactly.
You can't keep using it.
Yes.
And, in a role like sales, where the pressure is on, you're on deadlines, targets, timelines, it's like running 15 apps at the same time.
Right.
Your battery's going to run down faster.
True.
If you don't take those regular breaks, you won't be able to be at your best tomorrow.
Yeah, true.
Or the day after, or the day after.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But this is not a normal conversation for sales leaders to
Yeah,
have.
true.
Right?
Because they are under pressure.
Because they're under pressure.
Yeah,
and then
true.
you see it perpetuates.
Yeah, because their challenges, if I don't have my numbers, I remember in my working time, during some of those large Fortune 500 organizations I worked with, every Monday we used to have this question that, where are the numbers?
Yeah.
Because this is going to directly impact your stock.
Yeah.
And stock is what the shareholders are looking for.
Of course.
And I realize that now because when I start trading on stock, I feel, oh, okay, this makes sense.
You're calling them. Where are the numbers?
Exactly. So, very, very important point that do they have the patience? But I should also say I have seen quite a lot of sales leaders where I've been interacting with who directly gets involved in reviews. We have certain trainings or coaching program. They sit through that entire 2 days being involved in that program because they also sharing that message that we have our skin in the game.
Yeah.
And that clearly drives a very different message to the salespeople and they start taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to that, the culture aspect that individual culture as well, what has been your success factor as a leader, and probably that's the experience they have had in the earlier organization. They kind of, we need to have more and more and more leaders of that sort, which will allow salespeople to really perform the way, we expect them to perform.
Yeah.
So when you talk about motivating salespeople, where do HRs, what kind of role does HR play in motivating, retaining, upskilling? Because the reason I'm asking this question is whenever I talk to an HR about coaching, the first of all, I don't like the word training because training is like a sprint run, I feel. Training is a one-time thing, I feel.
Right.
Coaching is you're consistently holding their hand and getting them, moving the needle. So the moment we talk about sales coaching, the first thing is, these are the trainings I want from an HR perspective. They look at it as a training, something which needs to be, is that good enough to motivate salespeople? Is that good enough to sustain? What has been your experience?
So we know that training has a very low efficacy over a very short period of time.
Yes.
So you'll go to a training program, if you're paying attention throughout, which we also know isn't necessarily the case, your retention of the information drops very, very steeply in a very short. I'm sorry, I don't have the data in front of me or in my mind.
Yeah.
But
24
it's a
hours.
very steep, right?
That's true.
It's crazy.
Within 24 hours, they've forgotten 50% of what they've learned. That's what data says.
The most important thing about training is are you applying what you've learned?
Yes.
Right? The applicability. And is the applicability creating the impact that you wanted the training to have?
True.
In other words, is the training effective?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is where most training programs fail. They deliver the 1 hour, the 2 hour, whatever it is online in a classroom, and then nobody follows up afterwards. Or there isn't a clear plan afterwards on this is how you implement the training.
Yeah.
We'll check in regularly to see how the implementation is going. Now, have you noticed an uptick in your performance, in your energy, in how you feel when you're coming to work, in how your clients respond to you?
Yeah.
etc., right? Well, then what's the point of that training if you don't do all of those
True.
things?
Yeah.
Right? And this is where coaching is much more powerful, much more impactful. You asked where the role of HR is. I think for me, HR's role is to design these sorts of programs and to deliver them. Right? You can't expect your sales leader to do this. Your sales leader should be able to train or coach on functional sales skills. But the implementation of these, and also the implementation of the micro habits which deliver peak performance, right? Which create culture, which capture drops in focus or resilience, or, this is where HR needs to come in.
Right.
If your sales superstar or somebody in the sales team is starting to struggle, catch it early.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not just about, they're struggling with the numbers. Why? What's going on?
Right.
Is there some support that they require? Are they not being supported by the manager or the leader in the right way? Are they struggling with the volume of rejection? Is it just that they are so burnt out, that they can't get out of bed every morning, they drag themselves to their clients? And guess what? Clients will feel this.
Right.
Clients
Yeah,
will
of
feel
course.
the
The energy is such an important factor.
Right.
People can find whether you're just coming there because you're performing your duty or really feel for them.
Yeah.
True.
So this is where HR and sales, in my
Come
opinion,
together.
has to be like this. Yeah.
Okay.
Really.
Since you are into peak performance training and coaching, what kind of traits do you see a peak performance? How do you identify a peak performer? I'm personally curious about this.
This is fascinating. And I'm going to disappoint everybody here now because there's no magic bullet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's incredibly mundane and boring, peak performance, right? If you ask anybody who is performing at the top of their game, if you do look at all of the research around people like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and, all these peak performers, there are consistencies to their success.
Discipline is boring.
Discipline. It's so boring.
Yeah.
Discipline.
Yeah.
Consistency. I think it was... I was looking at the statistics of one of these basketball players. It wasn't Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, it was somebody else. And they were saying that in a season, he probably makes 35 to 40 shots, three-pointers, right? But to make those 35 to 40 shots, he does over 1 million in a year, which you don't see. Over his career, over a 10-year career, which you haven't seen.
Right. You only see what's the outcome
you
there.
You see the ones,
Yeah.
And this is peak performance. It's that consistency, it's the discipline, it's the regular breaks to recharge, it's the reframing of failure.
Right.
This is and in sales, this is very important.
So important, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Resilient people frame failure as an opportunity to learn something.
Yeah, I love the statement.
Right?
It's
an opportunity to recognize that didn't work. The famous story is Edison, of course, right?
Yeah,
and the 10,000 attempts to make a light bulb. It's not 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. Sorry, it's not 10,000 failures. It was 9,999 ways not to make a light bulb.
Exactly.
It's
amazing.
It's just a reframing.
Yeah, it's a perspective.
Yes, but resilient people look at failure in a very different way to non-resilient people.
Yeah.
This is critical in sales.
So can resilience be built?
Can resilience be built?
Yeah.
Again, resilience is dreadfully boring. It's micro processes that you just do day after day after day.
Like the atomic habits, which we read.
Like atomic habits.
Yeah.
Atomic habits.
Interesting.
But if you look at all of the literature, the research around success, around peak performance, around resilience, around all of these things, it's, people would be so disappointed to know that there's not some magic formula.
Exactly.
It's not some miraculous thing that all these people have. No.
Yeah.
They just do the mundane things every single day, consistently, year after year after year.
Yeah.
They make incremental gains. Peak performance is not, you're performing at 500% on Monday and 0 on Tuesday.
Yeah, true.
Peak performance is incremental gains.
Amazing.
It's,
so micro gains which become which
time,
leads to the peak
and they
performance.
compound.
They compound.
They
I think that's the right
compound.
word.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
That's the right word.
It's
so
fascinating.
You change
You've set me
inside
off.
out. No, I love this. I love
You've
this.
set me off.
So it's more like an inside out transformation than an outside in transformation.
Of course.
I think that's the most critical part.
Yeah.
And if you are not willing to probably put that time and effort, and if you read all of the successful people's story, when I say successful, success is again having different definitions, but I'm saying people who've made it there from where they were not and where they are now. Every story has this one single thing which is common, which is discipline.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you listen to interviews of the great leaders,
Yeah.
but I think that's so important.
And this is where people mistake, in my opinion, people get motivation wrong. It's not about motivation.
Got it. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's about doing the boring stuff even when you're not motivated.
True.
Motivation comes and goes, right? We all know this. But the peak performance, consistent success over time, greatness
Right.
is achieved by doing the things you don't want to do, things you know you have to
do.
even when you're not motivated.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. True.
How often do you not feel like going to the gym and you just, you know what? Like
Never.
put on the TV. You know, it's just so much
and
more
then
comfortable.
procrastinate. No, I'm going to go tomorrow. You're right. You're right.
But the people who are in great shape and consistently in great shape,
True.
of course they have days like that.
Yeah, of
Of course they do.
And it's natural. You
But
should.
they still go.
Yeah. And it's okay to take those breaks, like what you said.
Of course it is.
Okay
It's
to
essential to take breaks.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Essential
then,
to take breaks, yeah.
then you don't know why are you driving in this direction.
Yeah.
Of course, we are all human.
Yeah.
So I always hear. This is something I heard, not that I believe.
Okay.
HR and sales alignment.
Yeah.
Many a times it's always like broken in sense. There's no clear connection.
Right.
Do you see that, or have you experienced it? And what has been any kind of a example or story you would have gone through in your entire 30 years?
Look, I think let's use the cliche.
Okay.
Or the stereotypical
Right.
definitions.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Sales is about revenue. It brings in the money. HR is a cost. It just spends the money. Right?
Okay.
Sales,
That's how it's taught.
Right.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah.
You hear these things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
Sales are the guys who are enabling the business and making
True.
sure it's successful and all of this. And HR are the police. And when I've done something wrong, they'll come and tell me off.
Yeah.
And they're about policies and administration and back office. This is the cliche terminology. This is the stereotypical viewpoint. Do I buy it? No, I think it's absolutely incorrect. But I also think it's prevalent. Right? You come across this. Look, I think I go back to reframing things. Right? If you are a sales leader, I would be very close to the HR leader.
Okay.
To help them to understand this is what we have to deliver. In order to deliver this, these are the types of individuals I need. And once we've got those individuals, this is the culture I want to create.
Okay.
I want to create a safe environment where people flourish, where people support each other, where, yes, we are results oriented and that's all measurable, but in order to enable results, we look after the human side of things. We encourage regular breaks. We build habits of peak performance. We don't do a training session, right? We create the culture, which means I would say to the HR leader, sit with me, help me design my week.
Okay.
Right? Help me design my team's week, right? How often should we do a little offsite? How often should I say to them, come in late, right? How often should we factor in these micro breaks into their working week?
Right.
How do I recognize when somebody's struggling or struggling to deal with resilience or struggling to, how should I pick these things up, these cues up?
Right.
So if I was a sales leader, I would be like this with HR. Again, it's, think about sales performance as functional capability and human capability.
Yeah, that's a brilliant comment. I think
Right?
that's where the alignment is, not broken, but alignment.
And if you only have
Yeah.
one, you're not operating at
Yeah,
optimum.
yeah.
Which means you don't have that multiplier effect that a great culture, the right people, the right environment, the right management and leadership capabilities as the leader.
Yeah.
Most sales managers, most managers are promoted
Just from a sales role to manager.
Because they're good at their jobs,
Yeah.
not because they're great managers.
Yeah, not because they're good with people, but because they hit their quota, so they get a promotion.
And who then teaches them how to get the best out? Nobody.
This is one of the biggest challenges. This is such an important
But this
statement.
is where HR can step in.
Yeah.
You are now a sales manager. I'm going to help you to learn how to manage people, how to get the best from your teams.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
How to coach, how to inspire, or how to recognize challenges. This is where HR can come in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think on this topic, I would love to share this with the audience that whenever there is a person, whenever there's a sales individual who's a performer, promoted to a sales manager, the first activity an HR should do
Right.
is to, have first-time managers programs. How do you manage people?
Yeah.
Not how can you do better revenue, not increase his target and say his or her target and say, oh, now you're promoted, now you have a bigger target. No, that is part of the whole job. But then how do you manage your people to get the best out of them? Because you become a manager and you still become transactional, still become this is something I've seen consistently.
Yeah.
And I think, so do you also see, because as you mentioned that sales leaders in HR has to be aligned and they have to be together.
Yes.
But do you think that HR personals who are in organizations needs to be also be exposed to how a sales environment? Yeah, because HR generally, this is what I hear from sales leaders, that they don't understand sales.
They don't understand
They
sales.
don't understand.
We
They
hear
don't
it
understand.
across all functions. We don't understand marketing, finance, sales, IT, nothing. We only understand HR.
They do. They don't understand. They only hire. They're only there to hire.
Yeah.
And so even if you tell them that this is our business problem, they're so focused on their KPIs.
Yeah.
So I think there's other side of the whole equation as well, that HR needs to be also exposed to what's happening in the customer environment.
Absolutely.
What are the challenges? Yeah. Only then they can add value to the business.
This is what I think is the true role of what we call an HR business partner.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Partnering
That's
with
why
the
it's called
business.
business partner.
Right.
Yeah.
Number one to that is understand the business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, it could be the function itself that we're talking about. Understand the function. That means sit next to them. Be part of their client meetings. Understand how clients are asked, what questions the clients are asking.
Right.
Go on sales calls with your sales teams. Why not?
Right.
The more HR understands about what your reality is, the better equipped it will be to find the right people, onboard them in the right way, enable them to perform when they are in, help you to create the right culture. But you can't do that from a distance. You can't.
You have to be a part of it. Only then you
How
can
else
add
do you
value.
understand? Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk a day in my shoes, then you'll know what
True.
I do every day. Yeah.
So can I call HRs into my sales trainings? Is that a good idea?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
I think it's a great
I'm going to have
idea.
something called sales coaching for HR.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why not?
So critical. I feel every function should be exposed to it.
Let me ask you something, if I may. I know this
Yeah,
is your
sure.
podcast. but
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
no.
ask
This
you
is
something.
wonderful. I'm waiting for a question from you.
Do you think that... So I obviously haven't prepared questions.
Okay.
So give me a second. What do you think are the key criteria at an individual level for sales success?
At an individual
At
level.
an individual level. What determines whether somebody is a great salesperson or an average salesperson?
I would always start with the mindset. And I'm not using this word like just for the heck of it, but that's where everything starts. Like you very rightly mentioned in the beginning, right? That innate need and the desire to do something in that role. And for me, sales is a very noble profession. And I have told this in many podcasts and many conversations. I start my coaching by saying that sales is a noble profession. And that's where it all starts, because you are here helping someone make a decision.
Right.
And that can impact the person personally and professionally. Right? I mean, what better role can you ask for in an organization?
Right.
So I think for me, it's very, very important. It starts with mindset.
And that's fascinating, because you didn't say the ability to sell.
No. Selling is an outcome.
It's the mindset.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is where HR can help
Yeah.
salespeople.
To formulate that.
help to understand whether the person, first of all, coming in has the right mindset or has the desire to develop the right mindset.
Right.
And then enable that.
True. Which is the most, which function in an organization have you seen in your experience has the most friction with the sales organization? Is it finance? Is it operations?
Oh, you're going to get me in trouble.
Because I know the answer to many who says this, but I want to hear from you what has been your experience. Because, see, you are on a zoom out, right? HR is watching all of the functions, and you are the I would say the common denominator there, right? So what do you hear? Like finance keeps saying, these guys don't get the cash in time, they don't do the forecast on time, or is it operations who say they overcommit, under-deliver? They tell us 4 days, but we have to deliver in, So I would love to hear this.
You're not going to do this to me. I'm not going to.
I love to hear this.
I'm going to be extremely diplomatic and say, everybody loves sales.
Okay. Yeah, you got that.
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, look, seriously speaking, I've heard everybody have challenges with sales in the same way I've heard everybody have challenges with HR.
Okay, that was diplomatic.
Yes, thanks. I've had everybody have challenges with finance, right?
Yeah.
They're holding the purse strings too tight. Sales, they promise the world and then nobody can deliver it.
Yeah.
HR, they're just here to tell us off. All of these things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But now you tell me, which function has the most
I would say the back office, the finance and operations,
okay.
always.
Why?
And I don't blame them because the sales don't involve them during the process of the sales discussion. Because you go and commit something, which obviously because sales is under pressure, again, it comes back to culture, Taz. That's the point. Because if you don't have a culture of collaboration, culture of wanting to do it as a team, this is my customer as an organization, it is not Leena's customer or Taz's customer.
Right.
It is our customer. If that culture is not driven from the top, then you'll have this friction. Because I always hear the back office. Once the order comes is when the trouble starts. And which is exactly why the customers are also worried. They say that the problem is not to give you the purchase order. The problem is what after the purchase order.
Right.
Because I know the system always has some cracks in the wall. Right. So my experience in sales, I've seen this, and because I work with organizations to set processes and structure, consistently this is what I hear. Yeah. And I guess that needs to be fixed, to really have...
Now you mention it, I've worked in organizations where a lot of emphasis is put into ensuring that process from the sale to the delivery of the product or service to the post-sale support is seamless. And a lot of emphasis goes into making sure that's as seamless as possible.
Yeah, because selling us... So I strongly believe, and this is what I say, tell the sales organizations, is that your selling starts after the order comes to you, not before the order comes to you.
Right.
That's where your real sales starts, because this is where you need to hold your customer and really make sure that you go over and beyond, because retention of a customer is just like retaining a talent. Right? You lose them forever. Yeah. So that's something which I thought I would wanted to check from you, that what have you heard, but you've been extremely diplomatic and I love that. So what kind of collaboration between HR and sales have you seen as a success, and what has failed? I mean, when you see HR and sales in these areas, they've been very, very successful, but in these areas, they generally are not successful. Any such experiences you've had?
I can recall working with a leader in an organization I worked with here in Dubai, actually, and he was the VP of sales.
Okay.
And he and my team worked very closely. He was charged with scaling a particular market.
Okay.
He and my team worked very closely to bring in the new talent.
Okay.
And it was because of the closeness of that collaboration that my team were very in tune with precisely what he wanted. That meant he was able to hire the caliber of people that he wanted very quickly.
Okay.
And also then much credit to him, he created an environment where success was the culture.
Right. Okay.
But in a very healthy way. So driven, focused, ambitious, yes, but also very humane.
Okay.
And that was just one small example of how,
Got it.
HR in this particular case, it was talent acquisition, and the business can work very closely together.
Okay. Okay.
It
Interesting.
requires that intentional effort.
I think intentional is the right word.
Yeah, it has to be done, because if you take a shortcut, it will bite you later, without question.
Yeah.
You may get lucky, right? But let's not rely too much on luck. Let's try and control what we can control.
True.
And so that intentional engagement, taking the time at the beginning of, in this case, it was a recruitment process.
Okay.
Taking the time at the beginning to understand that there's complete alignment between what the business requires and what the recruitment team then go out and look for in the marketplace.
Got it.
That took additional effort, but
Right.
that additional effort paid in multiples down the line.
Yeah.
The speed of hiring, the speed of onboarding, and the speed to productivity.
Right. Yeah. When you get the right people, then they start work as soon as possible,
And they're
rather than
delivering,
yeah. Okay.
So it was that small investment at the beginning, which paid multiple times in dividend
Right.
downstream.
Yeah. I think our conversation will not be complete if I don't talk about AI.
Right.
So where do you see the AI's role? I would rather look at it as future of sales. With AI, culture, competitiveness, motivation. There's so many things which is playing a role, and now AI has come and sat on top of all of us. So what's your perspective about what's happening out there, and how do you think? I would pick sales, but then in generic, are you seeing salespeople under a lot of pressure because of this, or are they feel that there's a genie which has come to them?
Look, I think with AI, and it's a fascinating time that we're alive at the moment.
Yes.
I don't think in my lifetime, at least, and I'm old enough to remember when the world didn't have the internet. Right?
Absolutely, same with me.
So I remember
the
that
floppy
coming on.
disks.
But this is bigger.
Yeah.
This is bigger.
Big. Yeah. Bigger and faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think AI is going to have significant impact, without question. It already is. But I think, again, with AI, I look at the opportunity that exists, right? For salespeople, does this become your best research tool, your best, message crafting tool, your best market intelligence tool, your best, competitor analysis tool? Yes, why not?
Yeah.
All of those things which you would typically have had to do in your job anyway, but may have taken you a week, 2 weeks, asking so-and-so support. Now it's at your fingertips.
Yeah.
To not use it is almost criminal.
Yeah, true.
Right?
True.
We have this incredible power at our fingertips now.
Yeah, true.
But will it replace me sitting across the table with you, looking you in the eye, shaking your hand? No. It won't.
Not yet, at
Not
least.
yet. Not yet.
Right.
Not until the robots are completely sentient.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, thankfully, there's a bit of time to go before then.
Yeah.
So look, like with every function, I don't think there's any point in being fearful of AI.
Yeah.
It's here. It's not going away.
True.
I think the smartest people are thinking, okay, how do I use it to not do more,
To
but
make me
be
smart.
more efficient?
Yeah.
Yeah, be more efficient.
True.
Where that market research report may have taken a week to generate and a few people, if I can do it like this, why wouldn't I? As you're going to your customer, what's the latest news on them?
Yeah. True.
Have there been recent announcement? What has their stock price done?
Yeah.
Program your own GPT to say, every time I go to a customer visit, furnish me with this information.
True.
Connect to my calendar so you know who I'm seeing.
True.
And then make sure before I go there, I've got a one-page summary of everything I need to know.
Yeah. I think it makes you so more efficient. And I think 50% of your challenge is already mitigated if you have information and how to articulate that information. Absolutely. And that's what the tool is allowing you to do. Because earlier, 80% of the time, mundane job is what salespeople are doing, research, find. And so obviously, you have maybe some information, may not be, and then you're trying to grab. But today you have it right there. And how you're going to use it, it's amazing, and it's a powerful tool which you're having.
And then you can focus on
more productive.
Yeah, a bit of a romantic, right?
Okay.
So the beautiful part of
Yeah,
human connection, right?
absolutely.
Which is sitting across the table from you, forming a bond, having a conversation, laughing together.
Yeah.
You know, AI is not going to do that yet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you can take away all of that, let's call it admin, but back office work,
Yeah.
so that in your fingertips you've got the information, and now I can just focus on being here and ensuring that this interaction is wonderful.
Yeah.
Everyone complains about doing admin. Nobody wants to do admin,
Yeah.
right? Oh, great, here we go. We've got a tool now that'll do it for you.
Exactly. You were trying, you
No
were
point complaining about that.
true. I mean, brilliant point. And I think that also gives salespeople an opportunity to sit across with at the customer side and build opportunities for them.
Right.
As you're driving the conversation,
Right.
you know, driving that perspective. You have more time and more quality time to spend with your client.
Right.
You know, so if you're not doing it, somebody else is doing it. So
Yes,
you
for
better
sure.
do it, you know.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
that's basically what I...
There's nothing to fear. AI is another tool. We can really use it to our
Yeah.
benefit.
Yeah.
And I think that there will be plenty of people who do. There already are.
They are.
Plenty
they
of
are.
people who use it to make
their
themselves more
benefit.
knowledgeable, more efficient, do the research on their behalf. You know,
True.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
so many applications.
So, are you also hearing sales leaders asking for when the new roles are being, you know, filled up
Yeah.
as a sales manager or a sales director or even a sales account manager? Do they have these new skills incorporated into the JD? Do the sales leaders say, "Hey, I want somebody who can use AI effectively"? Is that the shift you're seeing in
Absolutely.
hiring?
I think
You do?
I think now there's been
Okay.
like just in the last year, I think there are AI is now mentioned in 30% more job descriptions than it was last year. This is only going to increase to the point where you know nobody says can you use Word
Yeah.
or Excel anymore? You know,
Yeah,
it's just
of
given.
course. Yeah.
AI will be like this.
Right.
So at the moment, yes, we see it in job descriptions, but I think soon it'll be just a given or a expected
Yeah.
that you know how to use AI.
So, what could be your statement to the audience, to the sales audience, that if they are wanting to grow in their own organization, or for people who are actually moving into the sales world, what kind of skills, of course AI, but then how do they go about understanding what kind of tools should I be, looking at? Do they have to reach out to the HR community and ask, what are you hearing from the sales leader? What's your advice to them?
To people
the
entering sales?
Entering sales, who are in sales.
sales?
Yeah. And to the HR community as well, that what can they do to help the salespeople
Yeah.
grow and upskill themselves? Yeah.
I would go back to, I guess, how we started the conversation, right? Which is that if you are coming into sales or are already working in sales, we know you're in a high-pressure environment. Targets create pressure and stress. These things can affect us, right? There's plenty of research. Manage that. Don't think it'll manage itself.
Got it.
Take care of your sleep, your exercise, your diet, your breaks, your energy, right? Learn how to focus for short periods of time and take regular breaks, right? Be at your best and then have some time off.
Right.
I don't mean go on holiday every week.
Yeah.
All your sales managers would kill me.
With AI, you could do that.
Within a day. It's about short bursts of focused activity,
Right.
and then short bursts of regular recovery.
Yeah.
And this is what I would say to anybody who's in a high pressure job. It's something which we overlook, and it's tragic, right?
Yeah.
Recovery fuels sustained performance.
True.
Recovery is one of the magic pills of energy management, peak performance, sustained performance, resilience,
Yeah.
all of these sorts of
Yeah.
things. And to HR, I would say, it's such an enabler function, right? It can
It's
really...
like a backbone.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just that many HR organizations, functions are not built like this. They're not, they are very operational, quite back office.
Yeah.
They're not at the coalface with salespeople, with marketing people.
Yeah.
Change that.
Yeah.
You are the custodians of culture. You are the people who bring in the talent.
Right.
You're the people who enable the talent. You ensure success, right? If
Yeah.
you understand the business deeply, And also, let me be honest, it's much more exciting to do that work than to create an employment contract or write policies.
True,
right?
true.
It's much more exciting to sit with a group of salespeople and say, right, what do you need? How do we get you to 5x? What do you need as an individual, as a team of people?
Yeah.
What does the leader need? Right, let's help you create that.
Yeah.
Let's drive that culture.
Yeah.
How do we support each other?
Yeah. How can I help is the statement.
Yeah.
That's
That's so much
critical.
more exciting in HR's
I
job
know. Yeah.
than writing another
True.
contract or a policy.
And fortunate enough that you're in an HR role, because not everybody can deliver that kind of a role so effectively.
Yeah.
So if I have to take away from all this conversation, what resonates for me is discipline, resilience, do the mundane job so that those mundane jobs which will actually get you to become a peak performer, some of very, very important factor. And I think all of this, is covered with the culture of the organization, and to also develop your individual culture. You be transparent, have your integrity. You don't have to depend on organizations to upskill you. You got to self-develop. It's also a very critical aspect. I always tell salespeople that, okay, if there are no training programs, there are no coaching programs in the organization, you go out there and look for it, and invest in yourself. It's such an important factor.
It's at our fingertips now.
Yeah. So Taz, thank you so much. It's
pleasure.
Been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
talking. I just felt like water flowing, and it's brilliant the way you've come up with your own experiences and a lot of very, very critical points I'm sure my audiences are going to take away
Thanks
from
for
this
having me.
conversation.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So for all of you listening to us, thank you for listening to us. We just ignited a lot of conversations here, a lot of nuggets, gold. I mean, this is like a gold mine, which is coming to all of you. So please subscribe to the channel and let us know what kind of topics really excite you. We are here to bring those topics and those special guests to you all. So it's Leenna signing off, and we meet you for the next podcast.